Hey everybody, welcome back to the Highland to Hardwater Outdoor Podcast. This is Matt. I'm joined by Zach.
Hi everyone.
Hey guys, we are back for another great podcast. This is kind of part 2 with Brock Butterfield. I know we talked to him a couple podcasts ago, but he kind of mentioned at the end of that podcast about the bus fare. So I was able to get a call with him to talk more in depth about the bus fare. And so we thought it'd be great to get him on again and kind of talk about it. So the bus fair is a tiny fair that's showcasing school buses that are tiny homes. It's going to be in Oak Ridge, Oregon on June 8th, 2019, and it's from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. They're going to have speakers throughout the day, and then there's also going to be live music in the evening.
Yeah, and that just sounds like a really fun event if you're in the area to go to. The artwork vendors sound really interesting if you're interested in checking out some artwork. The live music sounds great, and if you're just looking into converting your own bus, it's a great place to go because it'll be really informational, and you don't necessarily have to have already converted a bus to go. You can just go and kind of find out about it.
Yeah, so when we release this podcast, it will be the weekend coming up, so it will be June 8th. I checked the website. If you check it out, it's thebusfair.com. Also, they're on Instagram, The Bus Fair, and we'll also link those in the show notes and descriptions of the post. But you can check out the ticket prices. You can buy tickets online. You could save a couple bucks buying them online rather than walking up, from what I saw on the website. And it's going to be, again, in Oak Ridge, Oregon. So you can walk up and check it out.
Yeah, and Brock also goes into a couple new projects that he's working on. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you listen for those, some really interesting stuff. So be sure to look out for those.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone enjoys the podcast here. And also tell your friends, leave a review on iTunes, subscribe, and just share the podcast. We got a lot more great episodes coming up in the next couple months that you'll be really interested in, and we're looking forward to sharing those with you soon. Hey everyone, we want to welcome back Brock Butterfield to the podcast. We spoke to him in a previous episode where he was talking about living in a bus, how he retrofitted one in order to make it into a living space, the bus life community, and then also a really exciting thing he has coming up this June called the Bus Fair. And so we're really excited to have you on again, Brock. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Matt. How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
Good. Just sitting in rainy Oregon right now inside the bus. That's always a fun thing to do, to hear the raindrops at the top of the bus.
Yeah, that's cool. And you know, hopefully that you have some nice weather, nice clear weather, and not so much rain coming up soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And typically in the beginning of June here, we have great weather. Oak Ridge is kind of known for this weird little place in Oregon that gets the most sunny days out of the whole Pacific Northwest. So I'm counting on sunny days for the bus fair.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, so tell us more about it. How did you really come up with the concept? I know we kind of got into it a little bit about having a community event in the previous podcast, but if you want to get into a little bit more about the idea of it.
Yeah, well, I honestly had no idea I was going to be planning an event, like if you would have asked me a few years ago, but I just kept getting so many emails or questions on Instagram from people that follow Bus Life Adventure saying, hey, do you know of any school bus conversion meetups or, festivals? There's all these tiny house festivals that go on that usually have maybe 1 or 2 buses there, but they were looking for something that was specifically just for buses, just the bus community. And I realized we needed to create something. So I started putting things together, started working with the city of Oak Ridge here to find out what that would entail as far as permits and renting the park and things like that. And I started out thinking that this would be a fairly small first year event. And then I announced the camping, VIP camping, and that sold out within 2 weeks. And I kind of went, oh crap. we've got a whole lot of people that are interested in this thing. So the city was kind enough to work with me to open up an additional area for camping. So we were able to have another 40 spots for camping, and we only have, as of today, like 5 spots left. We've almost completely sold out of that too. So this thing is like grown bigger than I had originally planned on, and we haven't even had the event yet. So it's exciting, but it's also like, man, there's a lot of work coming into this thing, and a lot of people are excited. I can track where people have bought tickets from, and we have people coming all the way from Florida, Maine, Alaska, Hawaii. So it's just not like local here to the Pacific Northwest. People are going to come from all over the United States and Canada as well to come to this thing.
That's excellent. And so when you created it, did it sort of morph into what it's going to become, what kind of events you're going to have there for the attendees, and sort of the exhibitors sections, things along those lines?
Well, it has definitely morphed a little bit. The first like general goal of the event was to create and cultivate an environment for people that have converted school buses to come show off their buses, kind of like a car show or an RV show.
Okay.
But then also give a lot of these people that live in school buses are an artist of some kind, whether they're a photographer, a painter, graphic designer, screen printer. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to also sell their art that they make to help, keep the wheels on the bus going round and round. And then along with that, we have, some live music, and we're supporting a lot of the local musicians here in Oak Ridge. And then we have a beer garden, and that is a fundraiser for our local trail stewards here in Oak Ridge. That they're all volunteer based, and they maintain and manage all of our trails, which are very popular for mountain biking. Oak Ridge is also known as the mountain bike capital of the Pacific Northwest. So to be able to raise some money through beer sales to help support these guys is going to be fantastic as well. And then it just kind of it kept morphing into more and more things. Just last week, I had a conversation with a nonprofit organization in Ashland, Oregon, that are taking school buses and converting them into tiny homes for homeless families. So they're also putting those homeless families in an RV park for 6 months, paying for it for them to get them up and going, to kind of get them off the streets, give the kids a great place to, sleep every night, be able to bathe. So I've invited them to come and create a booth there to kind of help raise awareness of what they're doing. And then also through ticket sales, throw them some money through the ticket sales that we make with their unique code to help go towards their nonprofit as well.
Wow, awesome. Is that listed on the bus fare website as well? That is supporting that organization?
It will be.
Okay.
It's so new.
Awesome.
This happened just last week that, they finally they said, yes, we want to be a part of this. Thank you so much for reaching out to us.
Cool.
So they're working on a new logo right now. They're going to get that to me. We'll announce it through our social media as well as on the website.
Yeah, we'll put that on the show notes as well, and maybe a link to their organization too once they get that over to you too. People also, if you want to go check out www.thebusfare.com. Is that right, Brock?
Yeah.
I was over there. People can go check out more information about the event too, kind of while we're talking, if people want to pull that up on their devices. That's excellent, though. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It started out with just one general idea, and it's slowly morphing into more and more things. I'm trying to get the community involved as much as possible. So the woodshop class here at the Oak Ridge High School is going to have a booth where they've made a bunch of cornhole sets and other things that people, while they're there at the festival, can A, play, but then also B, purchase, and that goes to help support the woodshop class here in town.
Awesome. So is also kind of coming from the conversation, is this sort of a really exciting opportunity to get a lot of these people that, like you said, Hawaii, Florida, get them together to see communicate face to face, to have conversations and talk about each of their projects and things that they've done. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and what I'm finding is we have not only people that have done a bus conversion, but also people that are just interested in the idea of it. And at the bus fair, we have two of my really good friends that are professional bus builders. One is in Denver, Colorado, and the other is in Sandpoint, Idaho. And so they'll be there as, so to say, a vendor, but they're going to bring their buses that they either live in currently or that they're working on for a client right now. So that opens up a whole opportunity for people that are just curious about the process, whether they want to do it on their own or pay somebody to do it, what that entails and how they would even get started with that. And kind of along those same lines, we've got a few guest speakers that are going to be talking about those same things, like how do you even find a bus? Where do you start? Like which motors do you avoid? How do you get it insured? And then we also have one of our sponsors of the event, AM Solar, is going to be covering solar. So they've got a really fun analogy of like how sunlight is captured, and they're using an analogy with pouring beer from a pitcher into a glass and then into your mouth. So they've come up with a really cool way to talk about how your batteries are actually topped off, how the sun actually generates power, and how that's transferred into your power system in your battery bank.
That's great. And so a lot of that, even setting that up, has that just come through the process of morphing the event into more having classes for these attendees too?
Yes, that definitely was just an initial thought at first, and then after I realized the true potential for it, we've created a few seminars that are going to be free for people to attend. We've got one the day after the event in the morning where people can come for free, and there's a gentleman named Chris who runs the Schoolie Academy, and he teaches you everything you possibly need to know for doing a bus conversion. And so he's going to give a free class that morning, just kind of talking about the beginning steps and things you should really think about before you pull the trigger on wanting to do a bus conversion, because some people may not understand the amount of time or money that goes into these types of builds, and you've got to be prepared for that or make sure you have enough time and money to do it.
That's awesome. And it also sounds like a lot of these people you said are actually coming because they want to start a bus conversion. This is going to be kind of like that 101 of how to do it. So they can really take a lot of stuff away from this and then go back to, like you said, where they're from, Florida or Hawaii, and they can then do that bus conversion. That's awesome.
Right. And along with that, being able to see 30 different school buses that have already been converted, get ideas, see how somebody did a real sleek pantry, spice rack slide out that maybe you hadn't even thought of. But when you're using such a small space like a bus, every bit of space has to be utilized to make it, as efficient as possible. So being able to see other people's ideas and building off of that is going to be fantastic for anybody that's interested in not only buses, but like you can apply this to vans, you can apply this to tiny homes. It's just the idea of a small space and how to utilize, that space to the best of your ability. Cool.
And I know you mentioned that you were going to get some help from the local high school woodshop. Has there been other interactions with the local community of putting it on? Have there been other businesses that are supporting it, and how's that been?
Yeah, actually, it's the community support has been fantastic. They're really itching to have a new event here in town. We've got a lot of mountain biking events that go on, and I would say a good 60% of our population in town doesn't mountain bike. They're more of the blue collar loggers, so they don't really relate to the mountain biking as much. So they don't typically go to some of the festivals here in town. However, a lot of them are really excited about the bus fair, because you can be anybody. You don't have to be a bus dweller or a bus converter. You just like the idea of going and checking it out, having a beer, getting some food from one of the food trucks, checking out the local art vendors. So it's been really positive, the feedback from the local community so far. And the Boy Scouts just reached out to me a few days ago. They're interested in being a part of it as well. And the idea I had, which they love so far, and we're gonna figure out the fine details of it, is teaching them, the Boy Scouts, the difference between composting, landfill, and recycling, and which items can be recycled, composted, or put in the landfill at the trash stations at the bus fair. So as people are eating food at the food trucks and getting a beer or, a soda pop, and they come to throw that away, the Boy Scouts are going to be there to help them throw it in the right container to be able to make sure that we're being as green and eco-friendly as possible. But we're also creating this opportunity for young kids to understand the difference between those three items, and then hopefully take that home and be able to start implementing it at home as well.
Right, and that really comes into play a lot with the bus conversion and the bus life. I'm sure you know from experience in your travels and with the bus life adventure documentaries and stuff you made, that you traveled around a lot of places, and you probably had a lot of trash or recycling and compost, things along those lines that you had to work around when you were traveling.
Oh, absolutely. And that, it's honestly a really hard thing when you're traveling, because you have to locate where the recycling centers are in each of the locations you are. And sometimes you can't find them, or they don't take certain things that can be recycled. And so you end up having to hold on to these things for, one or two more cities before you get somewhere where you can actually recycle or compost, or, landfill. You can find a garbage can anywhere. But typically I find I have more, we'll call it waste, in my recycling and compost than I do my actual trash. My trash doesn't get emptied very often because the majority of the things that I have can either be recycled or composted.
Got it. Excellent. Cool. So anything else you want to speak about the bus fair before we kind of talk about some other projects that you might be working on?
No, if anybody is, even remotely interested in tiny living in tiny spaces, like, this is a great opportunity to come and check it out. Tickets are online at thebusfair.com. They're cheaper if you buy them online as opposed to the gate the day of. Again, it's in Oak Ridge, Oregon, which is just slightly outside of Eugene. So if you're going to be flying, you can fly right into Eugene and then travel up to Oak Ridge by the bus. Or drive here, bring your camper, your van, your truck, whatever. There is so much camping around in the Willamette National Forest around the city that you'd have no problem finding a place to stay.
Cool. Yeah, and we're going to put the Instagram handle and any social media handles about the bus fair on our post about this podcast. We'll also include a link to thebusfair.com as well for any info that people are seeking out.
This podcast is presented by Mr. Heater, North America's most popular brand of portable heaters and accessories. Use coupon code podcast20 to receive 20% off and free shipping at www.mrheater.com.
So after that, Brock, any other projects other than the bus fair that you're working on or that you were working on and now you've put on hold because of the bus fair?
Now, are you hinting towards my current school bus that's not done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I currently have a 5-window short school bus that's got the Ford 7.3 turbo diesel in it. And I'm about a year and a half into this thing with trying to, finish it. It just, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Planning the bus fair is definitely taking up all of my time. And it's like 75% done, but I've still got a lot of finished work to do inside of it, and I got to finish the bathroom. But it's got radiant floor heat. It's got an engine coolant heater for in the cold weather, so you don't have to plug into a block heater. Diesel drip furnace. I carry my, my Mr. Buddy with me for when I don't want to fire up that furnace, but I just need to heat up the inside of the cab real quick. I'll just throw that thing on, and it's a matter of like 5 minutes, and the whole bus is nice and toasty. But yeah, it's fully off grid. I've got a fridge and a freezer that run off solar. My partner Heidi, we'll say demanded that I figure out how to get the latte machine to work off the solar. So we have enough juice to run the latte machine in the morning and make lattes and espressos. So yeah, it's great.
So after the bus fair is over and you can kind of get back to that, do you and your partner, do you guys have plans to make any trips after that?
Yes, we do. And we're both just taking a break from work for a while. We're going to try to just take the whole summer and do little mini trips around Oregon outside of Oak Ridge that are, within 5 hours. There's so much to see in Oregon that we haven't had a chance to yet since we moved here. And so instead of doing a big, cross-country road trip or driving all the way down to Baja, spending, a lot of the time driving, we want to just focus on a 5-hour perimeter around us in Oregon and discover all the cool stuff that's just right here first. And then as time goes by and years go by, we'll gradually, expand that radius further into the U.S. to check out things that we've had on our list.
Cool. And that will give you an opportunity to really break in the new bus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been living in it currently, for the past maybe year while it hasn't been fully finished. It is livable 100%. It's just I'm looking at windows that don't have curtains, and I have that space styrofoam bubble wrap for all the windows. So when I go to bed at night, I feel like I'm inside of like a spaceship. So, but yeah, it's fully livable right now, and it'll be nice to have it completed and just be able to look and feel like a home even more.
Awesome. Cool. So anything else, any other projects coming up, or is that pretty much it?
Well, I'm not going to commit to it, but let's just say a lot of people have been emailing me about putting on a bus fair on the East Coast somewhere.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
So if any listeners right now are interested in helping coordinate that, I would be glad to talk to you and figure something out. So any East Coast listeners, feel free to get a hold of me on thebusfair.com. My email's on there. Let's start a conversation. Let's see how it goes.
That sounds really cool. Awesome. So yeah, everyone, again, go to www.thebusfair.com. Check out. We'll definitely make sure we put the link everywhere, and also on our social media, especially to the Bus Fair Instagram, any other social medias out there that are really promoting it. But yeah, thank you again, Brock, so much for being on the podcast, and we're really excited to see the pictures and the videos of everyone down there. And enjoying the festival-like atmosphere. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and I want to thank you too for helping donate some items for the raffle. The raffle is going to be huge at the bus fair. We have so many cool things to give away, and all the stuff that Mr. Heater and Basecamp contributed for the raffle is going to be extremely helpful and really exciting for all the attendees there.
Awesome, you're very welcome. Cool. Yeah, thank you so much, Brock. And we'll talk to you later.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Take care.